Hello, hello, and welcome to the Wake Up with Giants radio show. I am Lady Luck, and I am here in studio with Ryan the Lion, Nicole Cola the RPG, and our special guest co-host today, Doug McGee. I'm so excited to have everybody in studio today. And the topic that we are covering today is the power of positive thinking. And we're going to be covering stuff like routines and small, consistent actions over time when we talk about positive thinking. So what I'm going to do right now is say hello to everybody, and I'm going to take us right over to Doug McGee because I'm so interested in what Doug does, where
I
he
didn't
comes
know
from, and
I didn't know our studio had a fireplace.
well, only Doug's studio has a fireplace. Nobody else has that.
Yeah, the radio can't see it, but socials can, and he looks warm and cozy.
He
Yeah, I'm
does.
sitting here in Denver, Colorado, and it feels probably like Southern California because it was 70 degrees today on
Wow.
December 2nd. So it's nice out. So thanks for allowing me to sit out here.
Oh, that's awesome.
Amazing, amazing. So, Doug, can you go ahead and just start us off and let our listeners know what it is you do, what you specialize in, all those wonderful things?
Oh, I do a lot. But what it relates to here, first of all, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here. It's always fun to be with you guys. And um, so, what do I do? What do I specialize in? I think I am overarching would be I believe that the real revolution is the evolution of consciousness. So that is what I believe in. I believe in lifting consciousness for men specifically. So the company I founded over 3 years ago after coaching, thank you very much. Look at that,
Yeah,
realm.men.
I'm
Well,
sporting
now
I'm sporting it. Look at that.
I just
Sporting
feel
this.
left out. Like I don't have a Realm t-shirt. How did Ryan get a Realm
Cuz
t-shirt?
I'm a real man.
Wow. Wow.
I should have worn my wake up wear. I know that I thought about it, but I wouldn't, or wake up, not wake up wear, wake up giant. So,
Yeah. Wake up. Yeah, you should have worn your giant shirt. That would have been
yeah,
rad.
dang. Uh, so look, it's like what? Well, let's have some fun with evolving and growing. And I just am. I've got an affinity for doing it with and for men because that's my journey. It's what I know, and I think we need it. We're a little heavier and a little thicker than you women, so we need a little extra 2x4 with the head sometimes.
Isn't that the truth?
I love that. I love that. That was so cool. You caught me trying to share that to socials, to share us out to socials. No, but
She's
I love
ordering a
that. And
shirt too.
yeah, well, yeah, we'll talk about that later. Um, no, I love that. I love that you said that, and I love that you specialize with men. And honestly, I mean, I talk about mental health all the time, and I think even when we talk about most subjects like mental health, like consciousness, like anything that's kind of spiritual in nature, it's men that are kind of left out of the picture, and men that are not really coming forward and talking about that, with the exception of Nick and Ryan. They are
Of
the
course.
exception. They
Thank you.
they come forward and talk about all of those things, but most men don't come forward and talk about all of those things. So I so love that you are helping men come forward and be in that presence and talk about all of those things.
Yeah,
So
not only talk but actually do something about it.
yes,
Right? There's a
yes.
difference.
Oh,
There
for
is a
sure.
difference, and I love that you said that too. I often say to people, it's great that you're teaching about this and telling us what to look out for, but what are our actionable steps? What can I actually do when I leave here today? How are you teaching me what to do and what to move into? And so I'm glad you said that too. It's so important to have those actionable steps to move forward with. And on that note, we'll move into the power of positive thinking and how we can take actionable steps to move forward into positive thinking. Who has a thought about that?
Is
I
it a
bet Doug
positive
does.
thought?
Yeah, a thought about where we can start. How let's say that a thought about where we can start. If we're in a place of negativity, what first step can we take to be in a more positive state, to start thinking more positively?
Yeah, so I have a different look on some of this. So I think you guys are open to hearing different perspectives, right?
Fire away. Let's
Absolutely.
do it.
Yeah.
That's why we're
So
here.
I, obviously positive thoughts vibrate at a higher level than negative thoughts. Would agree? Like,
Absolutely.
you can feel a negative person walk into a room. Yes.
Absolutely.
And positive person. And sometimes positive thinking is like whipped cream over dog doo-doo. Right?
I've
or
heard
the
that
other
somewhere.
Yeah. Or the other one is like lipstick on a pig. And so we have to be really willing, I think, to look at what is true and evolve past it. So the vibration is actually authentic and genuine. And where do we start? I think we start every morning, because we wake up to a new day every single morning. We drift at night. I don't know where I go at night. I know my body's there, but I mean, I have some tremendous dreams. How about you guys? Right?
I've had some crazy dreams.
Right? And so we wake up, and what can we do first thing in the morning to actually begin to revamp our vibration for the day? And I think when you talk about consistent actions, and I love this statement, which I received from one of the coaches on Peloton. If you guys ever familiar with the Peloton cycling,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So Matt Welpers, I don't know Matt, but big applause for Matt. Matt said something that was profound to me, and it really stuck in the context of physical exercise. And it was, small steps are consistency trumps what was the word he said? Like small steps trumps big actions, basically. So small things done consistently will always trump big home runs. Like going to the plate to hit a home run every time versus singles is way better. You talk to any baseball coach, or if you follow baseball, that's how they score runs, right?
Yeah.
So what if we wake up every single morning with a ritual and actually a system and structure that takes us away from mass media, takes us away from our negative thoughts, that consistently allows us to raise our vibration like first thing in the morning?
I love that. And I'm going to piggyback on something else that you said too about the small steps, not just that morning ritual, but about the small steps. My morning ritual is to get up every morning and do a meditation. And when I was first getting into that practice and trying to be consistent with that practice, I struggled in doing that every morning and having that consistency. And, if I slept in 10 minutes, then I didn't have enough time to do the full meditation. So I wouldn't do it at all. And someone pointed out to me, one of my mentors pointed out to me, that it was the consistency that counted. So I didn't have to do a full half-hour meditation if I slept in 10 minutes, as long as I did the meditation. Go find a shorter meditation, but do it and keep doing it, and get the consistency first until you've moved into the place where you're doing it half an hour every morning. So I love that you said both of those two things, because it just, that really resonated with me.
So cool. Yeah. I love meditation. It's a part of my ritual too. So here's the thing. And you guys get this, but when a thought comes in, if we grip it, then it's going to have a hold of us, right? So if it's a negative thought and we grip it, it's going to create this negative vibe, right? Negative vibes. If it's a positive thought and we grip it, it's going to create probably more of a positive vibe. But negative thoughts happen. There's negativity in the world. There's darkness in the world, right? But we can't be afraid of it. We just have to know that it comes in. And if we grip it, like we don't have authority over it or sovereignty over it, then it becomes more of our vibration. If we just say it's just a thought and we let it pass through, it doesn't hold on to us. And things like meditation, things like physical exercise, any kind of mindfulness practice, journaling, dance, music, all this stuff lifts our vibration. So when those negative thoughts come in, which by the way are fed by so much mainstream media, I'm sorry, I hope there's, it's negativity.
Yep.
Yeah, low
and
vibration stuff.
oh, it's horrendous. And you get 1,000 people in the room on average across at least the Western United States or the Western continents, and they're listening to too much of that. They all start vibrating at the same level,
Mm-hmm.
and all you need is like one person to lift that. And so
Absolutely.
this is what you all are doing.
Yay. That
That
makes me
actually
happy.
that reminds me of like when you talk about that energy and all everybody in the room having that lower energy. It reminds me of a trip I took to Cuba. My partner and I at the time, we just decided to run away for the weekend, so we took a 4-day trip to Cuba. And when we got there, there was tons of people in the lobby because the Wi-Fi signal was better in the lobby than it was in the room. And so all of these people were congregated in the lobby, and they were all on devices. Now we're in Cuba. The sun is shining. It's beautiful. Like, we ran there to get away from everyday life and get away from the devices. And everybody had their heads down in their phones. And you could dance through the lobby and no one would notice because their heads were in devices. And so we actually termed the lobby and the people in the lobby energy vampires. And we were talking
Yeah,
about that the whole weekend that we were there. It was like just such a low vibration. They were energy vampires. When you walked through that lobby, it sucked everything out of you because it was so low and everybody was just in their devices. Nobody was talking. Nobody was enjoying the sunshine outside. It was crazy. I've never seen anything like it. It
it
was very
makes me
crazy.
think of something very funny. It's a random thought, but I had a friend one time in a movie theater lobby intentionally go into the bathroom and stick toilet paper to the bottom of a shoe of about 30 feet long and start walking out in the lobby of the movie theater. And everyone started giggling and laughing because they didn't know that he did it on purpose. I wonder if you would have done that in that lobby in Cuba, if anyone ever would have even noticed it, right? Like
They
you're
probably
strolling around.
wouldn't.
That's right.
Probably not. And it was just I honestly, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. And you literally could have walked through like that or danced through or sung and nobody would have even heard you or noticed. They were all
Yeah.
just so
I
zombified.
saw I saw on I think it was saw it on social media, I'm sure, but I saw a picture of like they had gone through and taken a bunch of photos of people, and they had their devices, and then they edited them out and took the devices out to show how weird it was, like socially.
Yeah.
And you had people that are sitting there like this, just everyone's looking down, and then you remove the devices, and it just looks weird. Like the people are at dinner together, but they were holding their devices. It has the same picture
Hmm.
with devices gone, and couples that are laying in bed next to each other, and somebody's on a tablet, somebody's on a computer, and now they're both gone, and they're not communicating and talking, and anyway, I think that we do get really, really sucked in very easily into low vibration things,
Hmm.
and they make them addicting for a reason, so that you just
Yeah.
stay on them. But
If
Yeah.
someone's watching this and can Google, there's a book called Device, and I haven't read it, but my sister told me about it. And basically, it says we're all getting device. That's the term. Like when someone is having lunch and the phone rings and they pick up the lunch and they pick up the phone, they get on the phone. It's an immediate separation. So it's called device or something. If anyone wants to post that in there, it'd
hmm,
be cool to prop that author because I think it's
yeah,
profound.
yeah, I can throw that in. So Doug, so you're talking to, like, I mean, you talked about like all day long we get bombarded by a lot of
Hmm.
low energy throughout the day, and then you go to bed at night, and your brain takes you into all of these magical spaces, and it tries to like sort it all out and make some sort of sense of it all. You wake up in the morning, and then like you could get stuck in that, still be in that low vibration. Is that kind of what you're talking
Hmm.
about? And then from that point, so then you set yourself up um, to start your day off the right way. What are some of your routines? Is that some things that you could share that would be helpful
Oh, of
for
course.
our viewers, and then they can also have those tips, and it might be something different for you. You might have to find what works and moves you into that space, but I want to hear what you teach, Doug, and how they can improve, in that area.
Yeah. So please, anyone that's watching or listening, make this you, but I like to create games. So a scoring system. So in our community, we have a scoring system where we score our what I call the core four, and the core four was something that was taught by one of my coaches. So it's not mine, but I've made it ours, right? And the core four is something that feeds us professionally, physically, spiritually, and relationally. So if you think about the four main pillars of life, that pretty much handles most of what we do every day, right? Our relationships, which is our family, our partners, our posterity, which is children, brothers, sisters, parents. Professionally, right? We invest a lot of time and energy professionally, spiritually, whatever that would be for anybody, and then physically. If all four of those quadrants are aligned and we're investing into consistently, that's a pretty strong foundation to build life. So the game, which is the game of the core four, is to score yourself every single day, and you get points for doing an extra or for doing a physical exercise. You get points for sweating, basically. You get points for eating. We made it very simple: a green smoothie. Like green smoothies are healthy, right? You get points for meditation. You get points for writing a journal entry, like personal memoirs. You get points for learning something new professionally, and you get points for sharing that or teaching somebody else. And you get points for pouring into your partner with their love language. Not your love language, because guess what? It's theirs. Yeah. Without reciprocity or the expectation of reciprocity. And then you get points for pouring into your posterity. If you do that for 30 days consistently, your life will begin to change. Your vibration will elevate, and you will attract. You guys all know about the law of attraction, right? It's a real deal. I believe it's the law of creation versus the law of attraction, which is what Steve Chandler taught me, right? But it is the vibrations. They have like vibration. So why not set up a ritual structured where you get to play a game to do that, and you wake up people, wake up giants.
So Doug, do you have a score that you like when you play that game with yourself? Do you have a score that you're after, or are you trying to beat your score from yesterday, or do you have like, I'm trying to get 5 today or 6 today or whatever it is? Or do you just score yourself?
No, it's a game. There's 28 points available in a week. There's 4 points. There's 4 points a day. So it's a half a point for each entry, half a point for sweating, half a point for drinking green smoothie, half a point for meditating, half a point for writing a journal entry, half a point for learning something new professionally, half a point for sharing that, and a half a point for pouring into your partner, and a half a point for pouring into your posterity. 4 points a day, 7 days a week, 28 points a week.
I love it. And if you don't have a partner, what do you do for that half a point instead of pouring into your partner? Your children?
Extra green smoothie.
Find someone that you can lift up.
There you go.
Yeah, find someone else that you can pour into. There's plenty of people that don't have partners that can connect, and human connection, relationship is valuable. We all want connection. It doesn't have to be intimate, physical connection. It can just be relatability.
Awesome. I love that so much. Hey, we just went silent. I'm like, I feel like my mind is just swimming with that. It just blew me away. But you know what I was going to say earlier, before we started talking about morning rituals, we talked about going to bed. Ryan mentioned about going to bed in that low energy as well. And I'm of the mindset that you reset that before you go to bed as well. You reset it in the morning. So I have a nighttime ritual and a morning ritual. So I usually do my journaling at night before bed. And most of the journaling that I do at night before bed is gratitude journaling.
Beautiful.
And my children, they will write down or tell me 3 gratitudes that they have before they go to sleep at night. And I was just saying this to someone the other day. Sometimes, my kids are split between two houses. They're split between my house and their father's house. And sometimes they'll come back from that house in not the best of mood. And sometimes it's a rough transition, and it could be a rough transition going the other way too. I don't know. But coming back here, sometimes it's a rough transition. So I really make sure that night at bedtime, that first night that they make that transition back, we get into a positive mindset and set the mood before bed as well. So we have a lot of talks that first night back when they get into bed, separately, so that they can have those talks individually with me, about what's going on and what they might be concerned about, and just really like bringing them out of any anxious energy and allowing them to go to sleep in that calm state.
I love that, and I love that you noticed that that's a difficult transition for them, both ways probably. So
Yeah.
so fantastic, get them on the right path.
Yeah. I don't know where we're
just
getting that.
I just believe that we all want the same thing. We all want connection. We all want love, and we just don't know how to allow it. We're taught at some level to cover up and protect. We're taught this duality of life, like good and bad, right and wrong, and so negative and positive, and it's all okay. But if we're resisting like all the negativity, what you resist does what?
Persist.
It does. It's a scientific fact. So if we're resisting all the negativity, instead of just saying it comes through, okay, then just don't grip it. But if we're saying I'm never going to have a negative thought, well, good luck with that. Those thoughts come in, and whether you want to grip onto it and go down the rabbit hole or not is a different story.
Yeah, I love that spoke to me too. I love that you said that, because I want to highlight that before we move on. Because I was at one point directed to the school of thought that you should just ignore if something's happening, and if something's coming in and it's negative, just back away from dealing with it. Just let it be, and disengage from it was the word that was used with me. Just disengage. And so I did that for a long time. I was in that practice of just disengaging from that negativity, but it just shoves it over here. You don't actually deal with it. The negativity doesn't go away. It just shoves it off to the side, and it's still there. It's still boiling up, right? It still comes up inside you. And that did happen to me. And I had to eventually just deal with it and move forward and allow it to come through me, like you said. But I wanted to really highlight that for our listeners, because I think we can all get stuck in that cycle of just going, okay, I'm dealing with it by just not answering it and shoving it over here, and that's not really dealing with it. You do have to let it come through you.
That's my experience, and look at the sedating techniques that culture has presented for people not to deal with it. Gambling, alcohol, pornography, medications, marijuana. You just go on and on and on. That's just the way
it could even be things too, Doug, like just overworking, or avoidance. Not dealing with it by numbing out however you numb out. It might not be something like a heavy drug or alcohol or something. It might just be like the avoidance of the issue by doing anything and not doing what needs to be done to address it.
Not confronting it. And that's what it was for me. It was exercise. I was a triathlete, and so some of the stuff that was occurring in my life that I didn't really want to look at, I did more training sessions. I trained harder, and it will eventually present itself.
This is a good question too, real quick, to make a distinction. What's positive and negative? If could you make a distinction on what's positive for somebody, what's negative for somebody?
Well, I think it can be different for each of us. Like, I could have something that occurs for me and I experience it as positive, and you could have the same thing that occurs for you and you experience it as negative. So that's where this whole experience is so important for each of us. Like if I love snow and it's snowing and I'm excited to go skiing, that's like woohoo, right?
I like to look at snow from the inside.
There's a goal. It's like it's snowing and I'm having
With a
anxiety
heater.
to put down. Right?
I'll watch
for-
you ski, even though I like skiing.
For someone else, that might be like, oh no, it's snowing, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I think we got to be in tune with our bodies, because our bodies tell us, they don't lie, you know. And I actually don't know the answer to this question, but you know, is does the thought create the feeling, or does the feeling create the thought? It's like the chicken and the egg.
Mhm.
And I've tried to like laboratory this for myself, and it feels kind of like we can do it either way,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like
Mhm.
if you see a sunset and it's like, oh my gosh, look at that, and you feel the beauty. I'm looking over here because the mountains are over here, and you feel the beauty of that. Then you have a positive thought.
Yeah, but it could go the other way. You're right. You could have a thought about it first that creates the feeling.
The rooster came first.
How did the rooster get there?
Right.
all this is a big quandary. We don't really know everything, and we don't claim to know everything. It's this game of life that we all get to experience and try to work on, whatever we want to. That's why I like the Giant's journey, is because it's different for every single person. Wherever you are, you're a giant already. And if you want, if you want to go skiing and that makes it like amazing for you, then go skiing. If you hate snow, then cool. If you want to do anything different or better, or that's better for you, cool. If not, awesome. But it's an interesting the game of life. I don't know how to describe that either. Positive, negative. It's all
Yeah,
experience, consciousness,
and
awareness.
yeah, and and especially in the world of coaching and leadership development, personal development, I really believe that everyone has the answers, and all that a coach can do is reflect back to them and ask them deep inquiring questions so that they can reveal what's true for them. The advice counselors that are reading books and giving advice based on not having life experience may not be the greatest source of coaching. How's that?
Yeah, you talked about, like because that's true. You talked about like the soul not lying, right? Like the soul will tell you, your body will tell you.
Mhm.
What do you mean by that? Do you have any like insight in that of how you
Well, I actually
maybe is
said the
that your
body.
intuition?
I said the body won't lie, but our top program that we have is called Adventure for the Soul. So I love that you asked about the soul. Like, I don't know what is the soul, but I think the soul is like the greatest integrity that we can have is integrity to our purpose, or our genius, and maybe that's the soul. Like, we're here. This is really my overarching belief is we're here on this planet to serve others, and we each have a unique and very special way of doing that. Like, Melissa's way is different than mine. Nicole's is different than yours. And when we get out of the way by doing our work, which is the work of personal development, that genius comes through us. And then we band with others. Let's call it the giant community, because we're clean. And now we're delivering our unique piece of the puzzle to humanity. And when we bond arms with those who have done their work and show up in a way that they are pure and clean, they're going to vibrate very high with positive intention, and they're going to go out and shift put a dent in the world. And I truly believe that. And so all we can do is our individual work within communities, and then when we'll start to feel these flashes of brilliance that might be the soul. I don't know. I don't know. But if it is, then we're on our soul's journey. And then we connect with other souls. And they're like, wink, wink. I see you, Melissa. Remember, we had this agreement way back when. And we're here to serve humanity through the Giants community. What if that was the game?
Sounds
and all
like
this
an
other
awesome
stuff
game.
is just kind of noise.
There's a lot of noise.
You know, what came to me when you said that, Ryan, just we're going to go on break in a second, but I just want to relate this as well. I think it's really important to, if you're listening to your body and listening to what it's saying to you, I think it's very important to actually be in tune with your body. And so when I'm teaching a children's yoga class, at the end of the class, when we're doing our relaxation, I'm teaching those kids to do a body scan and being in tune with their body and listen to what their body's telling them and what their body's doing, right? And so I think it's important for even us as adults as well to teach it to children when they're young, and us as adults as well, to be in tune with your body like that. I've had so many people say to me, "Oh, you know your body so well." Well, I need to. I need to know my body that well, because I need to know when it's speaking to me and what it's telling me something. And I know we have to go on break, but I want to get this story out too before we go on break. I actually had some anxiety, and I had anxiety about driving somewhere, and I was having the anxiety driving around town, and that kind of went away. And the anxiety was cured, and not cured, but it was at bay, and everything was hunky-dory. And this person wanted me to drive to this long distance place, an hour and a half away. And I thought nothing of it. It was fine for me. I was driving. I wasn't having anxiety driving again. But every time the person invited me to go there and drive that long distance, I got this little pang of something that came up inside me. I can't explain what it was. It was just like this little, like almost like my heart beat for a minute, and it made me stop and think. And it took me a really long time to figure it out. But what my body was telling me was that it was the person. It wasn't the drive. It was the person that I wasn't supposed to be going to see. It was the person that my body was saying it's not right to be going to that person. It was never the drive. It was the person. But I really had to sit with that for a long time and figure out what my body was telling me with that. It was telling me, but it took me a while to figure out what it was telling me and why.
The body, the soul, intuition, that's an amazing thing. Like, I'm learning to trust it more and more and more and flow with it. And so far it's working out pretty amazing.
I love that. Okay, on that note, story. I'm gonna take us to our break. So for all of you on social media, we'll be here for 2 minutes still, but for the next 2 minutes, we will be on break from the radio show. We'll be right back. All right, so Doug, we're still on social media, but we'll just take a little 2-minute break here. We'll put a commercial in, and we can talk about whatever you want.
And Nicole's gonna pop in here too.
Yeah, I want to hear from Nicole.
Nicole hasn't been feeling great lately. She's been under the weather. In fact,
I'm slowly coming back to the land of the living. But I totally love what Melissa was saying about trusting our intuition and soul work. Doug, with what you're doing for men, I feel like I've raised my kids to be in touch with their intuition, and it's actually saved my daughter from some pretty scary situations with like teachers at school that she just had. And they asked the class, they said, how many of you trust your intuition? And nobody raised their hand but my daughter. She was the only one. She's like, how do you guys not trust your intuition? And she had this feeling about a teacher, later came back as a sexual predator and she was the only girl that did not like this man, but her intuition told her. And I just feel like I have been conditioned out of trusting my intuition and then trying to get back into trusting my intuition. I feel like abuse has kind of pulled me to not trust it. And there's times when, like, I knew my daughter was going to get in a car accident on Wednesday, and then Saturday it happened, but my husband questioned me, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Oh man, no, I'm not sure." And then, a few days later. So I think it's really powerful work to teach people that they can trust their intuition, and that we're not, I don't know, that that we have that confidence to be like, yes, I'm trusting my intuition. My daughter's not driving my car on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just
I-
listening.
Yeah, it's the infinite wisdom of your body and your soul, like the infinite wisdom that you're born with. Everyone has it. It's not something that's special or only given to certain people. Every single person has that. It's just reminding ourselves and then having the confidence to step into it. Sorry, are we over on our break?
Not ready.
No, it's okay. I'm gonna bring us back in, but I want to continue that talk about intuition. I have a few thoughts around that too. So we'll come back in now. Welcome to the Wake Up with Giants radio show. I am Lady Luck, and I am here in studio with Ryan the Lion, Nicole, Cola the RPG, and our special guest co-host today, Doug McGee. And we are talking about the power of positive thinking. Before we went on the break and during the break, we had gotten into a discussion about intuition and knowing your body and listening to your intuition and understanding the signs that your body is giving you. And you know, I was just about to, while we were on break, I was just about to ask everybody this question. Have you ever walked into a room and spoken with someone who everybody speaks highly of? Everybody loves this person. You walk in, you're meeting this person for the first time, and you have a conversation with them, and you just, there's something inside of you just saying, I don't know what all the hype is about. There's just, this energy is off. And you know, I've had that happen to me before. And I've said to a few people, the energy's off. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I'm not there. I'm not loving this person as much as everybody's telling me that how wonderful this person is. The energy's not there. And I've been right. You know, months down the road, you find out that things are going on and this person isn't as great as everybody said they were. But I have listened to that. I do listen to that when I feel that energy when I meet someone, and I can feel that right away. But I know a lot of people that don't feel that and don't listen to that. Have you guys ever experienced that?
I have for sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Ryan. I'd love to hear it.
I had an opportunity to get around a professional baseball player who had started a coaching company and written a book. I'm not going to name him because that's just not how I roll.
Yeah.
But had this person come to our business and before and after the event, this person, there was something off, but yet the person proclaimed to do all these amazing things and help all these people and had charities and all kinds of things. And then we go to dinner and this person is exactly opposite of everything that he's talking about as far as character. And from that point, it was hard. It was very, very hard to then promote this individual and stay positive about it. We were about to go to, have this event for our group,
Mm-hmm.
and his message inside the book was pretty positive and amazing, but yet the character of the person behind it was very lackluster. And we'll just leave it at that. But my intuition, as soon as I've always been very good at seeing somebody and being able to go, and maybe that's because I'm a salesperson and I love people. Like, I just emotionally connect with people. I'm a number 2 on the Enneagram. So if you research that and know that type of a person, we're very good at seeing people for who they are and connecting with them very quickly. And that person, I saw him in person, boom, just not who they said they were. But anyway,
Yeah.
here's a really good one that I have a really, really, really good feeling about. This one's Alex. This dude's pretty great.
Oh,
He's one of the
is such an-
Fantastic Four from Steve Hardison's group. So I
He's
saw
such an
Steve Hardison
introvert,
on as
too.
well. So he's watching Doug here and
Yo, hi
appreciate
guys.
him.
Alex, that sounds familiar, but I don't know that I know Alex. But
He's
welcome.
a pretty amazing dude, and so is Steve Hardison. He's on here. We got a lot of great Giants on this group here.
I know that guy, Steve Hardison. He's a pretty special guy too.
He just wrote a book, The
I have
Ultimate
his
Coach.
picture right there.
Yeah. Oh, there he is in the background. And I'm wearing your shirt. Like, I mean, this is like, we're just like product repping like crazy around here.
Steve,
And I got
the
nothing.
picture is right above my Tesla Cybertruck. So he's like on the same level as my Tesla Cybertruck.
Amazing people. So yeah, I mean, I coming into this space, I'm probably a little later to the game. You guys have been doing this for a long time, and to be able to watch people of your character and your caliber that show up consistently, and not only just like you said, just speak the speak, but you talk the talk, but you also walk the walk, like they say. And then you have you just a way of being, Doug, is amazing. Your brother Steven is amazing as well. Like you got some pretty good bloodlines going on there, bro. Can you adopt me?
Yeah, well, we gotta go back to Granny Sue, our mother, because that's where it all started. So
Granny sounds like she's amazing.
she's speaking of yoga, Melissa. She was certified as a yoga instructor at 80 years old. So it tells you what kind of woman she is, right?
Oh wow,
Pretty cool.
that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, I hope to follow in her footsteps and still be teaching yoga at 80 years old.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, people love all these people that are on here.
It's a love fest. No,
It is.
That's
It
a good
is.
use of social media.
Yeah, this is a great one. There he is, Mr. Steve Hardison. Most people write a better book than they live. That's why I will never write a book about myself. Yep, his my life is my book. Loving you. You know what's interesting is he also tells you to read it for you, as if it's you. So not for him. And I experience him that way is love. So
yeah,
yep.
Beautiful. So what is the vibration of love?
That guy. There it is, right there. It's a frequency. I see it right across the screen. You,
that's
Alex?
A pretty positive experience.
Because I just see Steve's name pops up, and I just feel like lighting up, like my whole heart just lit up when I saw that, and I got emotional.
Yeah, and you know what? I think this just brought something up for me. I think the vibration of love is probably the highest vibration you could be in, and I think that's the reason why some people can't accept love and can't accept that positivity into their lives, because the vibration is so high and they're in a lower vibration.
It's over here.
There you go, Steve Hardison, 528.
Right there. And he stays at it. Like, I mean, I've never seen anybody just stay on it. He is dialed into that station.
Like all the time.
Yeah.
I read his posts about his wife all the time, and just like they're the most loving posts I have.
As well.
Oh my goodness. I read them and I'm like in tears almost reading the amazing things that he writes. And I'm just like, that is someone who is just always in that vibration all the time. How does he do that?
That's an interesting question, Melissa. Like, that's really an interesting question. Like, how do you stay in, we're talking about positivity, really positivity, like love of yourself, love of others, like, how do you stay in that? How do you become a Steve or an Amy Hardison?
I don't know. Well, Doug, what are your thoughts on that?
It's not by thinking about it, because it's by being it, right? So you can think about loving, but it gets caught in the mental space. It gets caught in the cognitive space. But when we are being in love, like not in love with your high school boyfriend or girlfriend, but like being in love.
That's fun too.
Right? And that's not so bad either. So you had one of those playground things too, then, huh, Ryan?
Once or twice.
I went to high school through. That's why I'm laughing. So.
Yeah, I was kind of a flirt.
Just
oopsie.
But I think Melissa, I think you're right. I think we keep it out. I think the negativity. I believe our thinking and our belief system eliminates us from actually experiencing it. We have an exercise. Anyone can do this. I do it probably 3 times a year, maybe 4 times. I write 101 reasons why I love myself. I'll sit down for 30 minutes, and I won't stop until I get 101 reasons why I love myself.
I love that. I just ran World Kindness Day was a few weeks ago. It was on a Saturday, and my colleagues and I, we work Monday to Friday. So I ran a full day on the Friday of kindness challenges. I think there was 9 challenges, and every hour of the working day, I sent them a new challenge. I sent them in different ways, and I encouraged them to participate and let me know how they were doing with the challenge. So I was asking them questions about it. And one of the challenges right near the end of the day, and everybody was participating, and they were writing in our team's chat, and they were answering all the kindness things that they were doing. And one was like, stop and text somebody right now and tell them how awesome they are. And they were telling me, I just texted my kids how awesome they are, and I think I'm crazy, right? Like and there was all these chats about everything. And the second last one at the end of the day was write a paragraph to yourself about how wonderful you are, why you're so wonderful, what do you love about yourself. And do you know that's the only one that nobody participated in?
Oh,
Nobody. I
that
got
kills
nobody.
me.
It was crickets. I literally went in and wrote it first, and went I did this whole thing in the Teams chat about myself, and then I got a few people trickle in, but there was crickets. Nobody did it.
Oh my goodness, that is crazy.
It's hard for some people.
Well, I think it's difficult for all of us, because we're taught that's what arrogance, right? To love yourself. Is that would be one thing, right? Or superficial or whatever. But I think we all know that if we don't really love ourselves, what's our capacity to really love others,
Mm-hmm.
right? And love is a vibration. It truly
It
is.
is. And I think it takes work to be able to love unconditionally people, how they are, who they are, and how they are, and not try to change them into the image of who we are. I think that takes a lot of practice.
Yeah. I'm sitting here and I'm wondering, is love a positive feeling?
Sometimes it's not.
Yes, there's some people that I love, but I don't like them. There's some people at work that I'm like, I love you, but I don't like you that much.
Well,
Yeah.
I think sometimes too, like when you love someone who's suffering through addiction or something like that, I've been in that space of loving someone who is just in, and it almost hurts. So I don't know if it's always a positive thing when you love someone so much that's going through something like addiction. I don't know if that's Nicole being honest.
Yeah, and I agree with that to an extent, but I also think that I've been through it. I've been through loving someone who is in a space like that, and and it's me that's gotten down on me when the love didn't come back, or when they came back violent, or when they came back in an unloving way. It was me that allowed that to bring me down, where it was my responsibility to keep my vibration up high. And as long as I kept my vibration up high, I turned the other cheek, turned the other cheek, gave love back, gave love back, gave love back, and kept the love there, as long as I kept my vibration high, because that's where my responsibility was. But I understand how it's difficult, and I see how it's difficult when the negativity is coming at you, to keep your vibration high when you're in a situation like that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of I'm guessing there's a lot of relationships out there where both men and women are in that backside of it, and my heart goes out to them. It's hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oof. You got to take care of yourself, right? That's the first thing, and then you can really share and take care of others. And in the work that I do with men, guys, most of them are terrible at taking care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
The weight of the world is on their shoulders, and I'm not saying it's not on women's shoulders. I just get to be with a lot of men who suffer in silence, and they need resource to be able to share, all the thoughts that are going on that aren't necessarily true, but they're gripping them and they're taking them down the rabbit hole, right? Just to share the pressures of a business owner who's worried about payroll in 2 days, and they're looking at their revenue generation and they don't see it. They're going to have to go. I mean, that stuff is what keeps men up at night, and women. It's just what keeps us up at night. But just to have resource to be able to share those, so that those thoughts don't, spin us downward, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think the biggest difference there is not that we don't all experience it. Men and women both experience it, but women will talk about it and talk about the fact that they're stressed out about it and they're experiencing it. And men, there's that stigma there that they're not strong or they're not manly if they talk about it and admit that it's stressing them out. It's like they have to hold that in and be strong and make it look like it's not affecting them. You know what I mean? And almost hide it.
Yeah, well, that's where we get off track. So the other baseline, I believe, is honesty. So what if we lived the world with just honesty and love? If those are our two foundational pillars, think how easy life could be.
It would be incredible.
Because honesty, you're not hiding. You have nothing to cover up. And there's so much freedom and liberation. And then we'd have the capacity to love at a greater ability. Whew. But for a man to say I'm worried, or a man to say I don't think I can handle it all, or then they get into weakness, right? And weakness is shame. And then I don't want to be in shame.
The shame, the judgment, the guilt, the worry, the doubt, fear, right?
Yeah.
And then I'll go further, and then they put that onto their partner.
Absolutely. Thank you,
or others.
Melissa.
Others. Yeah.
Because I've used this line a few times. I've said to a few people, I invite you to look in a mirror. You've just said that to me. I invite you to look in the mirror and see where you're seeing, where that is inside of you. Because I've had someone say to me when I was experiencing anxiety, are you always going to be this weak? And I looked at him and said, this is not weak. This is where my strength is, because this is where I have to find myself and where I find strength to pull myself up out of the anxiety. This is where I become stronger because I have to overcome this. This is not weakness. This is where I'm finding my strength and finding myself and overcoming. I invite you to look in a mirror and wonder where you see the weakness in yourself when you're experiencing anxiety. Why do you think that you're weak when you're experiencing that? Because we all do that. We put what we're experiencing onto someone else.
I think what Doug's doing too is so key, because having a safe space and having a coach, somebody that can look at it and come from a neutral position, even though he loves you, be able to come from a neutral position, hold the space, but then help you see solutions and help you see value and help you see the tools that you can use to grow and to move forward through that. I think that's super important to have a coach, personally.
Well, and so you're hitting on an interesting topic, because I've interviewed several women who were the partners of men in our programs, and the number one thing that they've shared with me is they no longer have to take the emotional burden of their husband, because now they have a community to share that into. Not that they don't love them, not that they don't want to support them, but being a partner and taking on the emotional burden of your husband. You're not a coach. You want to be a lover and a partner, right?
Yeah.
So it gets men in an honorable environment to be able to release and get positive feedback, like a locker room. And it must be primal. I don't know, but
probably
it works, because they talk the talk. They get in there. And I did personal development work so many years, and the rooms were 80% women, 20% men, and of those 20% men, 10% were probably gay, because they're more connected. The gay community. It's just what I experienced. So here I am in 10% out of all these people, and I'm like, I'm the weird one here, right? But now I know I got to do what I did, so I can, support other men to do it in a different round robin or a different community. So, men, don't dump on your wives. Let them be your lovers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed
Absolutely.
my husband with being a military veteran and how he connects with the people that he served with different than with civilians, even though he's been out for a long time because of that locker room, because they've had to rely on each other in such harsh conditions. It's like he can be more, I want to say, vulnerable and share with them, like, because he knows that they would literally kill or die for him. It's just a completely different dynamic than with me. And I'm extremely grateful that he has them for that reason. I just wish that it was that, I don't know, that he had a community like you've created that. And so it's not, a couple phone calls a year or something, but an actual community of people that he has there for that support. I feel like there's such a need for it.
Yeah, we meet every week, and they have an assignment every week, and they have to do a video. So it's like Melissa was talking about every single week. So it's pretty cool. So, you guys are awesome. I love this topic, and I want to make sure that we get to what Melissa had scheduled. So anything else, Melissa?
Yeah, no, I'm looking at the time too. We don't have much time left. We were just going to talk about the impact of routines and consistent actions over time, but I think we covered that in the first half. So I'm going to invite, just because we're running on time here, I'm going to invite everyone just to kind of give your last thoughts on our topic and, on positive thinking in those routines and consistent actions. What are your last words for our listeners? What do you want them to take away?
Who do you want to go first? Do you want Doug to go?
Yeah, sure. Doug can go first. Yep.
Final words on positive thinking. Like, create routines that lift your spirits. It's not ironic that it's called spirit, on a daily basis. And when those routines, when the energy is too heavy to lift with your routines, reach out to those who have a higher vibration to support you, and know that small things done consistently create massive change. And after a week or 2 weeks or a year of meditation, right, Melissa? I mean, it's taken me years to find the real sweet spot in meditation. And now, who knows? Like, it's just what's possible beyond this. So, love. And I just feel an abundance of gratitude and love for this community and the work that all of you are doing. And you're taking your special piece of the puzzle and sharing it with the world. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it takes a huge tribe of people. I'm going to go quick because then Nicole can talk longer. But it takes a huge, like a tribe of people. It's not just what we're doing. We feel like we're doing some good work, but there's so many of you, Doug, your brother, Steve Hardison, Alex. I mean, I could go through and I saw a ton of people just on this broadcast that have commented that are doing amazing work, that are helping, that they've raised their vibration, and then they turn around and out of love and that need to serve, to help others. Man, I'm proud as crap for all these people that are out there. There's a ton of them that I don't even know. You're out there. You at home, you the listener. You can take these words that Doug had talked about today in this topic, and these amazing giants that have been spoken, and put them into practice, into play. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Just start doing those small and simple things, just a little bit every day, and you'll be amazed at the growth and the change that occurs. And then you'll be able to also inspire and help others to do the same thing. So that was my little takeaway there. I love this. This is amazing.
Absolutely. Nicole, do you want to give us your last words?
Yeah, I'm just going to say small hinges swing big doors, and that negative thoughts are not, is normal. It's normal to have negative thoughts. There doesn't have to be a judgment around it. Get curious, and And the other thing I really wanted to know was how we would get, Doug, I'd like to hear how people would get connected with your group that you do for men. If you wouldn't mind sharing that with us. I don't know if we have time, Melissa.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, Ryan's got it up there. It's pretty simple. It's realm.men. It is .men. It's not .com. And there's it's going to be revised. You know, you guys continue to revise your product, and this is on our 4th year, so we're doing some different stuff, but under its current formation, it's there if anyone wants to get a hold of us. So thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
Awesome.
Thanks, Doug.
And I'm just going to add one thing at the end there is I'm just going to tell everyone it's okay to fall off. If you're trying to be consistent, it's okay to fall off, pivot, shift, find the little micro shifts, whatever you need to do to find that consistency. I'm going to thank everyone so much for being here today. Doug, it was a pleasure having you on with us today. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, thank you for joining us, Nicole and Ryan. All right, I'm going to say goodbye to all of our listeners, but I am going to remind you to tune in next week where our special guest co-host Mike Hardy and Christine Williams will be talking about how music can powerfully influence our everyday lives. It's going to be a great show.
Love you
all
too.
right, friends. Bye.
Good night.